FFear, F-F-E-A-R, and it's really a venue for us to explore various ways of combining different types of improvisation and improvisational language with especially contemporary classical music and those type of compositional processes. I originally came to New York and as a graduate student here at Columbia University, working on my PhD in ethnomusicology and spending my nights in clubs and actually doing a lot of my research around spending all those nights playing and performing with various groups. I play a lot of different types of styles of music. I've always been the kind of person that gets bored if I'm only just playing one style or doing one thing over and over again. And so I've had the opportunity to play a lot of contemporary music and new music compositions. I've commissioned over 20 works for trombone, solo trombone pieces by new music composers. And I found over the years that I did not have an outlet to try to combine that interest and that tonal language, and harmonic language and rhythmic language within an improvisational setting. And so when Uli Matthiessen, a saxophone player, came up with the idea of forming a quartet around these ideas of bringing a really wide open palette for creating music spontaneously. I drew on some of the composers that had been really inspirational to me when I was playing in more contemporary music, and one in particular is Charles Ives. I've always been intrigued by his notion of polytonality and kind of polyrhythm. And so one of the pieces that we will be performing, which we've also recorded, is a collection of songs, of Ives songs, that originally were written for solo singer and piano. And we've kind of translated those and transferred them onto a jazz quartet and jazz quintet settings. The saxophonist Uli Matthiessen, that I'm a partner with in FFear, has been probably my longest collaborator in music. His music is just unbelievably rhythmically complex, but it doesn't sound that way when you actually play it. But some of the pieces that we'll be playing at Miller Theater, half the band will be playing in 13 and the other half the band will be playing 11 at the same time. And you kind of, just to align those different beats and moving at different tempos is a real complex affair, but at the end it just sounds so natural and so beautiful, and he has a remarkable way of composing that way. The music that we're going to play at Miller has several facets, one of which is a composition that Uli Matthiessen received a grant from Chamber Music America for a new music. And he's written a suite called Mirage, which really tries to bring together several different elements. This kind of rhythmic complexity, but also microtonality. We're not just necessarily using 12 tones, we're using more than 12 tones. We're using a wide range of time signatures superimposed on one another. And the idea is, even with a small group as a quartet, to produce a sound that sounds orchestral, that's larger than life. And each one of those movements has a really unique personality. And this will be the world premiere at Miller Theater for this particular piece. The reason what we're so attracted to play on the Miller Theater Jazz Series is that our jazz is really pushing the various genre envelopes in new and interesting ways for ourselves. I mean, I really look at jazz as not a noun, but more as a verb. It's a way of music making. It's an approach with a specific type of aesthetic that we have inherited from African American culture, an open aesthetic. And so we're using that open aesthetic and bringing in, it's nothing new, people have used contemporary music in jazz in the past, but we're trying to do it in a slightly different way and making it our own along the way.